Hello everyone, welcome back to Horror House, everyone's favourite stupid horror podcast, hosted by me, Morgan Robinson, and joining me today for this, what will be either 2 parts or an outrageously long episode. If it's 2 parts, you know why it's 2 parts. We're talking about Scooby Doo, because that has roots in horror, and it's like, it is the best animated television show of all time. Scooby Doo, Where Are You? The original. So, we're talking about that because why not? But joining me, of course, is Mr. Nolan Dean. How you doing, buddy?
Thanks for having me on, man.
And the Shaggy impressions have started early.
That was a terrible impression of Shaggy.
I could tell it was, though. Which is the most important thing. I could tell it was an impression of Shaggy. Before we start going off on that, obviously Kong Skull Island came out. As of this recording, it came out in the UK yesterday, and I think it comes out in the US today, actually. We're recording this on Friday. But yeah, I saw that.
I did not see Kong Skull Island.
I'm not going to spoil anything, but I'm just going to say there will be a picture show episode on that, and I had to wait for the only person that I know that loves King Kong above all other things, Billy Polahan, is currently celebrating his 21st birthday in the Dominican Republic, I believe. So
hopefully he's not on Skull Island.
Hopefully he isn't. He hasn't actually gone to Skull Island, but we're going to wait until he gets back. We're going to be nice to Billy. Wait until he gets back, and then we're going to do that picture show episode, which I think will be, it might even be on the same day as the episode for Get Out. So that should be a nice.
Looking forward to that one.
Should be a nice big day of picture show. Some point next week, probably. Anyway, Scooby Doo, yeah. This is gonna be a very monster. Go.
Should we tell them how this came about?
I think we can sort of ease into that maybe throughout the episode, and then just go off on a wild tangent when we tell anyone listening why we've been talking about Scooby-Doo for the last, for a weeks now, probably.
I think I just brought it up one day on a hangout, which we do pretty regularly now, and then we talked for 4 straight hours about Scooby-Doo monsters, and turns out we're both huge fans of the show.
We are, and I think we're going to do that for about that length now. So, right, Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? 1969 to 1970, only about 24 episodes or something like that, is incredible. It's where everybody knows Scooby-Doo from. Proper cast, Frank Welker, Casey Kasem, all those people, but this being a horror show, we've got to focus on the monsters. So,
the best part of the show.
Yes, of course. First episode of Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? The first ever time we saw Scooby-Doo on screen, we had the Black Knight as the monster.
What a great villain to start off with, and he's probably one of the more iconic Scooby-Doo villains. And if you want to go off and say what you think about the Black Knight, I'll let you go. It's your show, man.
Well, I mean, the Black Knight... Now, as far as usually Scooby-Doo... Well, with the exception of some, usually Scooby-Doo monsters have pretty sort of discernible face. Think of some we're going to bring up, obviously, later. But the Black Knight is very sort of... It's a very basic monster to start off with, but I think that's why he's so sort of iconic, because he's just simple, They didn't. This was
the simplicity executed perfectly.
Exactly. You know, this was way before they decided to go and do some stupid stuff that they did in like the 80s.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, Scooby Doo Where Are You started with the Black Knight in, as you'd expect, in a castle somewhere. And this is just all traditional Scooby Doo things. His castles and portraits that are moving.
Museums.
Museums, stuff like that. And of course, the Black Knight that comes alive. Now I can't remember the name of the guy who was in the Black Knight.
Jeremiah Wickles.
There you go. See, you're getting all the trivia. Now you're getting the trivia right off the bat. Jeremiah is a fantastic name.
I believe for this episode, when it premiered, we weren't used to the whole it's going to be unmasked at the end. So for a lot of this episode, you actually believed they're going up against this fantastical monster. Oh. And it's pretty damn frightening.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, nobody knew what Scooby-Doo was, so nobody knew about the whole, unmasking. I would have gotten away with it if it weren't for you meddling kids. No one knew that existed. So this was just kind of a scary...
Everyone knows that quote, though.
Yeah. But, I mean, obviously in 1969 they didn't. When the first people were watching Scooby-Doo, Where Are You?
But they soon would.
They would, definitely. I mean... Yeah, sort of... You forget that, aside from the sort of fun nature of Scooby-Doo, obviously, if you don't know that... I mean, obviously everyone does, but if you don't know, or if you don't sort of think about straight away the fact that there is obviously just a person underneath that mask, these monsters are very, very relentless.
Yeah, some of them even have supernatural abilities, which the show just takes and just has fun with it. It doesn't care about explaining why they can do certain things, and even when they do try to explain it, it does come off as ridiculous. But that's the whole point of the fun of the series. That's what makes it great.
Exactly. It's not, it's not supposed to be taken as a serious show. It's something you stick on for 20 minutes or however long the episodes are and just enjoy watching. Because obviously you get the stupid humour, which is apparent in every single episode of every single Scooby-Doo thing that has ever been created, is just the stupid humour of Shaggy and Scooby.
Slapstick oddly works in Scooby-Doo, though. It would come off in any other show as kind of annoying, and you're just like, okay, get back to the monster. But for the tone of Scooby-Doo, the slapstick stuff totally works, and it's actually quite funny.
It is, and I mean, some of my favourite parts are when, in general Scooby-Doo now, is when particularly in the chase montages that Scooby-Doo Where Are You has some great ones, but it's when Shaggy and Scooby decide to dress up as like makeup artists or something and just sort of say, oh, come on, Mr. Ghost, we'll just make you up, get you angry, and then run away again. And that always makes me laugh, stuff like that.
It's a fun thing for their characters as well, because, Shaggy and Scooby are portrayed as very cowardly, but out of all of the gang, they are the ones that go up against the monsters the most. They're arguably the bravest ones, but they just don't know how to show it at first. It's like good character development.
I mean, that's a good point, really, because you don't really think about that too much. Shaggy and Scooby definitely see more ghost action than the other three. Whether that is because, obviously, it's more funny to watch Shaggy and Scooby scream and run away with all the fun sound effects that comes with all that, than maybe, watching Fred go, oh, this isn't really a ghost at all, and Velma going, I know who this ghost is. It's more fun to just hear zoinks and just run away. It's just fun.
They're the heart of the show.
They are, absolutely.
The other characters, they do their part, but Shaggy and Scooby are the ones that you relate to.
Yeah, Definitely. I mean, everybody knows Zoinks. Everybody
does.
Everybody knows Zoinks. More so than Jinkies or Jeepers or any of the other people's catchphrases. Because they all have catchphrases. What's Fred's catchphrase? Would you say let's split up and look for clues?
Probably. I don't really think he... Actually, I think I know what his catchphrase is. It's, watch the ascot.
The ascots.
He does love his ascots.
He does love his ascots. In later series, he sort of... he gets rid of the ascot. But...
probably because he realised how ridiculous it looked.
Classic Fred. Always loves his ascot. But yeah, The Black Knight was the first ever episode of Scooby Doo that we saw on television, and that was followed by, I know, one of your favourites, which is Captain Cutler.
That is one of the creepiest ones they've ever done. And sadly, in this video game I played of Scooby Doo, they had Captain Cutler as a villain, but they called him the Ghost Diver. And that took away some of the cool mythology that was there for Captain Cutler, because this was the first one where the ghost was actually the real person pretending to be their ghost.
Yeah.
And you know me, I love underwater, creepy horror stuff. So that my jam.
Absolutely. I mean, maybe some people listening to this are not as big a Scooby-Doo fans as we clearly are. So, should we give a little description as to the sort of aesthetic? I'll put a picture, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll put pictures up each sort of episode and monster we talk about, so you'll be able... But Captain Cutler is basically in an old yellowish sort of diver's costume, metal diver's costume with a big circular head and a glass window for like...
And he glows and has seaweed on him and has
all
that really
over him.
creepy moan whenever he's around.
That's some of the best parts. Like, some Scooby-Doo monsters have seriously good sort of laughs, groans, screams, roars, all that sort of stuff. And I mean, I know there's one particular one that we'll be bringing up in a short while that sticks with you in particular. But Captain Cutler...
Oh, yes.
You know, I like lake-based horror. Now,
like,
you know...
Creature from the Black Lagoon,
yeah.
Jaws, that kind of thing.
Yeah, water-based horror. Someone coming out of the water. I mean, this isn't in the same style as Creature from the Black Lagoon or anything like that, because Captain Cutler is not a lizard man or fish man or whatever you class Creature from the Black Lagoon as. He's just a guy, a ghost of a guy who is the actual guy that comes out of the lake and just scares people. And it's when, like, again, when Scooby-Doo started, they were going for, like, all the sort of... They did Haunted Castle, which was the Black Knight, followed it up with, you know, a lake, and then they're doing loads of haunted houses. They do a particularly excellent episode in a Funland amusement park.
Oh yes, that's Charlie the Funland robot.
That's Charlie the Funland robot. That is one of my favourite episodes. Just in terms of an episode, like there are monsters that I prefer more than Charlie, and you'll see what Charlie looks like now. He's basically just a blue robot with glowing eyes. But
it's like Captain Cutler in that sense, though, that they have such unique designs. You immediately will recognize Captain Cutler. You'll immediately recognize Charlie the Funland robot, and because they're not trying to look scary, they have like really simple designs, but it comes off as more effective. It's more like how these characters interact with the Mystery Gang that makes them scary than their actual designs themselves.
Oh yeah. I mean, Charlie, you know, the sound effects of Charlie are pretty good. Like, they're very sort of noticeable. The Mystery Inc. always brings them up. Like, well, there's that noise again, and it's just like, It's sort of
if you heard that in the dark, it's be terrifying.
it's very sort of 50s style sci-fi horror sound. The sound that he gives off is like something from, you know, another world, you know, all that sort of 50s stuff. But
An amusement park, that's ultimately a great setting for a monster.
of course, I'm always a fan of setting any sort of creepy thing in an amusement park because they work so well. Because despite
Like
how
Zombieland.
yeah, because you know, despite how fun amusement parks are, you can't deny that some parts of amusement parks are just naturally weird and eerie, like halls of mirrors and the music of an amusement park as well. The old school music of an amusement park. For me, I don't associate it with fun as much as I do. Oh, wait a minute, there's something going on.
It's
This
fun
is
in the
creepy.
daytime when everyone's having a good time,
Exactly.
but you go to an abandoned amusement park at night where no one's there, it suddenly becomes terrifying as hell, and Charlie helps to sell that perfectly, even though he's just a robot.
He is, but I mean, you know, it's all a case of wait a minute. This amusement park has been, you know, it's closed. Why are all the lights on? Why is everything running? And it's just Charlie just walking about very fast. By the way, like I have watched a lot of Scooby Doo in preparation for this episode. But the speed that Charlie walks at is ridiculous. He could give Michael Myers a run for his money.
He's like the Terminator, I guess, for Scooby Doo.
He is. The Scooby Doo version of the Terminator is Charlie.
Only he was voiced by Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh God. Well, there's no voice to Charlie though, is there? There's no
he
voice
just
to
makes
Charlie.
weird noises.
He's just got that weird, old school sci-fi sort of siren-like sound.
Yeah, and it's more creepy that way.
It's very creepy. It is very creepy. I mean, anything with an amusement park at night is just perfect to me, and it's why I love the finale of a particular Scooby Doo movie that we might talk about later as well.
Oh yes.
But yes, you've got.
Looking forward to that one.
You've got Charlie, who's awesome. I also like... Now, this is all sticking with the original Scooby-Doo Where Are You series. I like the look of the ghost of Elias Kingston.
That's from the episode What the Hex is Going On, right?
I'm not sure of the episode title, but he doesn't. There's nothing like overly special about him. There's nothing that necessarily stands out about his look. Obviously, you've got the picture on screen now, but I mean, the guy's blue, and he's got a massive chin, and he just wears a black coat, but he's really gaunt and just dark looking.
I feel like he's a throwback to those kind of like statuesque figures that you had in all these classic horror things. Like, I guess you could compare him to Dracula in a way.
Well, I mean, he's hardly charming, but I get where you're coming from.
Like his presence feels very similar to like Dracula.
He's got an intimidating presence to him, for sure. But I like that guy's design. He's very cool.
I'm gonna have to give that episode a watch. I didn't see that in preparation for this, but it was on my radar. I have just Elias Kingston. That sounds like something from a classic horror novel.
Exactly. These names are just... The names are often better than the actual look of the ghosts themselves, because the names just sound like something out of 19th century gothic horror.
You can tell there's a lot of love for horror from the creators with these guys. They didn't just want to make a stupid show. They wanted to make something that would actually kind of scare kids, but not enough to give them nightmares. It's kind of similar to what R.L. Stine did with Goosebumps, I feel. That's what Scooby Doo was back in the 60s.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we wouldn't be talking about it on this show, or who knows, we might be actually. But we wouldn't be talking about it on this show if it didn't have its roots in its love of horror, because it's just plainly obvious from all of these, especially Scooby Doo, Where Are You?
You cannot beat the classics when it comes to Scooby Doo.
No, absolutely not. I mean, yeah. What others did you want to talk about from Where Are You? Because I've got.
There's one that sticks out to me because he's got a really cool design, and like some of the other monsters, he doesn't have any dialogue. He's just got an intimidating presence and this really creepy as hell laugh. And best of all, this episode is set at an airfield. I'm talking about Spooky Space Cook.
Yes.
Starring the Space Cook.
Yes, the Space Cook. Nightmares. Basically, again, just a big built metal sort of robot thing with a flashing skull face.
And that creepy as hell laugh.
And a very, very creepy laugh. I'll put a little soundbite right here. Did you enjoy that laugh?
Ringtone once.
Oh, that's outstanding.
Waking up to that in the night it's something else.
Oh, yes. This is why I have the alarm tone that I have that gets me up in the morning is the Suspiria theme tune.
That is a great theme tune. If you were making an episode about horror scores, you could talk about that for the whole episode.
Absolutely. But yeah, I love waking up to scary music. I think it's great. Having the Space Cook's laugh as a ringtone is incredible. I'm not even going to try and do it. I mean, you've already heard it if you're listening to the episode because I've put it in somewhere. But
I don't know if I could nail that one. It's very high pitched.
It's very, very high pitched. But yeah, it is. It's set in that abandoned airfield, and
already you've got like that sci-fi blend with horror. Like,
yeah,
you know, it came from outer space, and I guess you could say alien in a way.
Yeah, in a way. I mean, definitely. You know, the ship that the Space Cook, comes down in is pretty cool looking as well. To be fair, it's that
straight out of War of the Worlds.
Yeah, it's again. It takes a lot of influence in the more sci-fi episodes. It takes a lot of influence from the 50s and the stuff we saw then.
Another thing with the Space Cook is, I don't know what this is like with you, but I've always loved villains that have a helmet as part of their design. Like, that's why I love Mysterio from Spider-Man.
Right.
That's why I love the Space Cook. Even Captain Cutler to an extent.
Yeah.
It's not like a traditional dome helmet, but it's like a diver's helmet.
Yeah.
It just comes back to how simple the design is and how well it works, but that's more to do with the voice acting when it comes to the Space Cook. I do not envy that actor at all for having to do that creepy laugh.
Oh no, I mean, I don't know who they got to do that laugh, but this is rivaling Mark Hamill Joker laugh in iconic laughs from animated television.
If you haven't seen the Space Cook episode, go watch that as soon as you're finished with this, because it's a great episode of Scooby Doo.
It is a great it's not. There are some episodes of Scooby Doo that are not as memorable, but they might have a particularly memorable ghost design. But the episodes themselves are sort of, but Space Cook in both monster and episode quality is awesome. I mean,
absolutely.
Also, one I like now, the episode with the ghost clown.
I just watched that, and that was, you know how much I love Pennywise, but that was like a whole new level.
The episodes, it's weird. It's a very weird episode. Because it's all about hypnosis. And they just get put in like the characters get the Mystery Inc. or at least Daphne and Scooby and I think Shaggy as well get put in trances by this hypnotic ghost clown who just twirls this gold coin around. And it's what does he say? It's like, look into this coin of gold and you will do as you are told. It's stuff like that.
That's exactly what he said.
I mean, I did watch the episode just earlier today myself. But yeah, it's very... And the guy looks terrifying. I mean, he looks like a scary clown. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, you've seen a picture of him now. But he's a creepy looking guy. I don't like clowns as it is. I don't like them. My parents will vouch for this. If they're listening right now, I was terrified of clowns as a child, and I'm still not too keen on them.
You're gonna have a great time watching the It remake.
Oh, I know, right? Things like this keep me awake. I'm pretty sure the ghost clown kept me awake as a child.
There's a thing with the ghost clown episode that's kind of different from most Scooby Doo episodes. Is that we usually meet the guy who is going to turn out to be the villain later on.
Yeah.
But in the Ghost Clown episode, we don't. It's just this really creepy, weird, almost Kubrick-esque hypnosis thing with a really creepy, simple-looking monster.
Yeah. I mean, who is he? I think the Ghost Clown is unmasked as a hypnotist that worked in that circus.
Harry the Hypnosis, I think it was.
But yeah, I'm not. What do you prefer? Do you prefer when you meet the sort of who the ghost is beforehand, so you can say, right, they're the ghost. We can wrap that up 15 minutes before the episode actually ends, or do you prefer it in this way where it's just like someone that is explained to you by the end?
It depends really, because back in those times, I guess for the time it would have been kind of more challenging for the target audience to figure out who it was, but when you watch it as an adult now, it's really easy to figure out who the ghost is when they're introducing all the suspects. I think that thing kind of works better for the Scooby-Doo movies, which we'll get onto later, but it's really a mixed bag for me. Sometimes I prefer the whole creepy, going full horror thing with this, like the Ghost Clown episode does, but on the other hand, I do like a good mystery. Yeah,
I mean, absolutely. That is... Mystery Inc. That is what Scooby Doo is. It is mystery based, with the creep factor of stuff like the ghost clown, which is also terrifying. I also have written down from Where Are You? This is gonna go long, this episode.
I can tell. We're already at halfway point.
But hey, if you're not bothered by that, I'm fine. We're not even.
This is like nostalgia.
This is what this is. Hopefully, all the Scooby Doo fans out there are loving this. But there's an episode in Where Are You with Dracula, Frankenstein's monster, and the Wolfman in the same episode.
I have not seen this one. You're gonna have to lead me through this.
Did you watch this one? The gang. They stumble upon are they going somewhere? I think they've been invited. I think the castle's called Castle Franken, and it was.
Oh, for God's sake!
And it was.
That is amazing.
Apparently, if I'm remembering this right, because I did watch this one earlier today as well. It was imported stone by stone from Transylvania to America. For some reason, and houses Dracula, Frankenstein's monster, and the Wolfman. And before going, the gang stumble upon a gypsy woman who tells their fortune of danger. She's pretty creepy. She's like dressed in red, like a red big cloak with massive gold earrings and a very long grey face. Sort of like, my crystal ball, that sort of stuff.
I'm just imagining like the evil queen as you're saying
But yeah, and then it's just like it's not an excellent episode, but probably because of the fact that it has to try and balance out all these villains in the same one. But I mean, the guy who voiced Dracula is just doing a relatively bad Lugosi impression.
Oh, well, that's going to be hilarious for me to check out after this.
And now, I mean, I know that people listening, or you even might be thinking of because there is a Wolfman in a different episode of Scooby Doo who's green.
Oh yes, I have seen that one recently too.
It's not that Wolfman. This Wolfman is grey. It's a different Wolfman. So that's kind of this is one of the haunted mansion, haunted castle type episodes, but that's pretty fun. And then what else do we have in Where Are You? I think we're still on.
I can go off from that actually, since you brought up the classic monsters.
Absolutely.
There is an episode that reimagines one of my favorite novels of all time, and that's Nowhere to Hide, which features the ghost of Mr. Hyde as a jewel thief, and it has Dr. Jekyll in it.
Yes. That's a great episode. That is like an excellent episode in terms of like story and everything. That's not just a creepy design. Yeah,
it was a really good reimagining of it, because I believe Dr. Jekyll in this one, he says the whole thing like, oh, I might actually be the ghost because of the whole multiple personality thing, but it turns out he's using that as a guise so he can go rob jewelry stores.
Yeah, I mean, isn't he supposed to be like the grandson of the original Dr. Jekyll or something like that as well? Yeah,
and I think that was like my first exposure to the Universal monsters was Jekyll and Hyde. I've always been influenced by that, and I went back and read the story, and I'm yet to see the Universal movie, but I've been told it's great.
It is. Right. Well, I mean, yeah, obviously, that is. I mean, Hyde in this one is. He's almost got like a Voldemort nose.
I thought that too.
And like he is green. And he basically looks like Voldemort if Voldemort wore a hat and trench coat.
Well, a hat and trench coat is just a completely creepy image by itself. You put anyone in that, they're going to look scary.
I often wear hats and trench coats, and...
So you look pretty scary.
Scare the people of Manchester.
Is this what we're going to do if I come to Manchester?
Yeah. Walk around in hats, paint our face green, and walk around as the reimagining of Mr. Hyde from Scooby Doo.
It sounds like a great night, man.
I would also like to bring up the Phantom Shadows, or the Green Ghosts, or whatever you want to call them. They're both the same things. Those things look terrifying. There is a picture of them up right now.
It's what you imagine when you think of what a ghost looks like.
Yeah.
Like the rattling chains and the creepy face thing that it's clearly inspired Ghostface. It's got like that Edvard Munch kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. It's not like the more sort of basic bedsheet ghost that we see earlier in the series.
That's a good episode, but
it is a good episode.
That guy's just wearing bed sheets.
It's not necessarily a memorable monster, really. I think it might be. It's either like episode 3 or something like that, something around then.
Hassle in the Castle.
Hassle in the Castle. Oh yes, yes. But the Phantom Shadows are very, very creepy people, and the premise of it is basically House on Haunted Hill as well. The premise of this episode, with the sort of change in the fact that some old guy has left Scooby in his will, and with a bunch of other like cousins, and they all have to come to this house, stay a night, and then they win their, portion of the fortune that he's left them. And then the Phantom Shadows turn up.
My first exposure to those was, they weren't called the Phantom Shadows, but if you haven't already, if you play video games and you own a PS2, order Scooby Doo Night of 100 Frights. That monster is a boss fight towards it, and you fight him in a cemetery, and it's just like the perfect setting for that character, and that's just such a fun game. I can recommend that to anybody.
I mean, they do look like they belong in a cemetery. They're like green Dementors, but with eyes.
Oh, the Dementors themselves are terrifying. You give them eyes.
That is basically the Phantom Shadow, or the Green Ghosts, or whatever you know them as. What else have we got? Because we're still not even anywhere nearly finished with Where Are You yet.
We haven't brought up one of the most iconic Scooby-Doo monsters from Where Are You? And
no, we haven't.
The Creeper.
I adore the Creeper. All he does is say, Creeper, Creeper, and he's just hunched over like no one's ever hunched over before. I'm pretty sure he's more hunched than the Hunchback of Notre Dame himself.
His looks kind of like a mix of Frankenstein's monster and the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
It is. I mean, it really is. That is exactly what it is. But it's also, he's sort of zombie as well.
Yeah, with the whole Creeper thing.
Because he just says Creeper. That's all he says, and I don't know why I don't know why he became so iconic, but he's just so memorable. I think it's because the episode as well is also great.
It's the title, I think, of the episode which introduced one of Daphne's phrases.
True.
Jeepers, it's the Creeper. That's memorable in itself.
It's a fantastic episode title for an episode of Scooby-Doo. I think you should know. I mean, you should know what the Creeper looks like, even if you're not necessarily a big Scooby-Doo fan. But with the big hands that are just always just in front, and just his hands seem to be bigger than his head, which is something I like about the Creeper.
Why has nobody cosplayed as the Creeper? Where are all the Scooby-Doo villain cosplayers? Because there's so much great ideas there.
I'm sure there is somewhere. We'll have to do that. Get some good cosplay outfits for Scooby-Doo. I mean, it'd hurt your back being the Creeper. Really, I'd rather be
Could I just put on bed sheets like the Phantom does?
I mean, I'd rather dress up as Cutler, or
that would hurt your head, like wearing that helmet.
Not if you made it out of lightweight material. But cosplaying as the Creeper would really, really hurt your back.
Give us a like if we should do that. Cosplay as Scooby-Doo villains.
Definitely. I would do that. I would just go about my normal day dressed as that if you wanted me to. I'm selling myself right now. I'd also like to bring up, again, for some reason this episode has always stuck with me, and it's not even that of a good episode. It's not even that of a good monster, but it's Scooby's Night with a Frozen Fright, I think the title is, and it's just a caveman that's been thawed out and just sort of, it might be because there are some, like, there's not a lot of snow-based Scooby-Doo episodes, but there's some. I think this is definitely the first sort of snowy, icy-based Scooby-Doo episode. I've no idea why this one sticks with me so much. I think it does have something to do with the Chase song. And
all the songs sound like they're from Beatles cover bands.
Exactly. Scooby-Doo Chase songs, most prevalent in season 2 of Scooby-Doo Where Are You? Which every episode, I think bar one, had a very, very 60s chase song during the chase. The one from this episode is called 7 Days. Please listen. Please listen to that. Please listen to that. It's. I mean, I don't want to play it now because copyright. But it's an outstandingly 60s song.
How do you think the band came up with that? Did they just look at like a calendar and think, that's what we're going to do?
Well, the thing is, all the Chase songs sound very, very similar.
They're just all bubblegum pop songs.
They are, but they're great.
They're great in that like cheesy way. And I think since you brought up this episode, the caveman is featured a lot in that Scooby Doo game I brought up, but he's like one of the easiest monsters to defeat. And I think I know who I'm going to cosplay as now. When we're the caveman. Scooby Doo thing. Yep. Costume. I'll grow out my hair. I'll get a bat.
You're gonna have to bulk up for the role.
Do I really though?
Well, you put on the extra muscle that the caveman requires. Put on the look at the caveman's biceps. They're huge.
Okay, never mind. I'm not gonna bulk up as the caveman. Phantom it is. That's all you need.
The thin, the scrawny ones. No. But yeah, I just wanted to bring up that guy because for some reason he sticks with me.
Yeah, that's a fun episode. Although you are right, it's not one of the most memorable ones.
It's not.
It's just like it's complete fun.
It is. I mean, I've still got 3 written down from Scooby Doo. Where Are You? There's only 2 short seasons of this show, and I've still got 3 memorable ghosts for me written down. One of which I know you like is the Headless Spectre.
I was just gonna bring him up because that was the episode that I watched so many times as a kid because it was the only one available on my Scooby Doo DVD.
Right.
And that also has a great song in it.
Oh, they all have great songs in. All of these are great songs. I don't remember the song from the Headless Spectre episode, to be honest.
It's called Love the World.
Right. But he's got a cool design to him. I mean, he is just headless, but his outfit and he carries a candle, and that's kind of cool.
I always wondered that, like, you know how you unmask these villains? When they unmask the Headless Spectre, he literally just pulls his head up through the suit, and I'm like, were you just wearing that over your face for the whole episode?
Oh, the thing is, that is such a Hanna-Barbera thing to do. It's just, I can imagine the sound effect right now. It's just like, boop, pops his head just under the covers, and then he just goes, I wouldn't have got away with it. I don't know what he sounds like. But
this was one of those rare episodes where the Headless Spectre actually wasn't the villain of the episode. He was just trying to guard his rightful treasure.
Yeah.
There's another bad guy in it who's wearing bed sheets again for some reason.
A forgettable villain.
What is it with Scooby-Doo villains and bed sheets?
I don't know. They like the bed sheet villain. They have to have one bed sheet villain for every creeper.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Headless Spectre, he's a cool looking guy, and that episode is a pretty damn good episode of Scooby Doo.
It's got all those haunted house things,
yeah,
and a ghost that's just a balloon, which has become every Halloween decoration since.
Yeah, which is just cool. A ghost that's a balloon. I love it. Put a tablecloth over a balloon. There you go. There's your ghost. Halloween parties when you're 6 years old.
Oh yeah.
Love it.
I think I can guess what your next monster is.
Well, I am sort of trying to go in some sort of chronological order. Guess.
Your next monster is the Witch Doctor.
It is the Witch Doctor, because the Witch Doctor, I stand by this. I think the Witch Doctor has the coolest design of any of the Scooby-Doo Where Are You monsters.
It's probably the most comfortable design too. That looks like a really nice robe.
It does. It's a lovely, lovely pink robe. And the mask is very, creepy.
It goes back to like that tribal.
It is.
Thing,
This is like tribal horror. Like they go to. I think it's in Hawaii, isn't it? The episode.
Yes, I always got Witch Doctor confused with Ghost of Geronimo. Who
Yeah.
we never brought up.
Yeah.
They look very similar.
He's got sort of a purple mask, I think, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And I think that's the right one. But yeah, the Witch Doctor is the pink clad guy who
does a really weird dance.
Very weird dance, as you would expect, a tribal witch doctor in a Scooby Doo episode to do. But I just think he's got one of the coolest designs of all Scooby Doo villains, really.
You know, when you see the Witch Doctor in Night of 100 Frights, whenever you look at him or where he's at, he's one of the villains that you just take down like any other opponent. He's constantly doing the Witch Doctor dance.
Oh dear. Now I'm just imagining every Scooby Doo monster just doing just what they're famous for. Because they all have, at least the more memorable ones, they all have, sort of one aspect to them that, yeah, that's what he did. Or, yeah, that's what he did. Like the ghost clown with his spinning coin. Or the space cook's laugh. Or Charlie's walk. Or, Creeper's creeper. I mean, I also wanted to bring up the Wax Phantom.
The one that they defeat by cracking him open. That's just perfect.
I'm a big fan of wax museums.
Oh yeah.
I'm a big fan. I'm not necessarily talking about Madame Tussauds or anything like that. I'm talking about creepy, wax museums where the wax figures don't look right at all, and they have one eye bigger than the other.
That's definitely what the Wax Phantom has. He reminds me a bit of Clayface.
Yeah, I have that written down. He does resemble Clayface from Batman, except he's not brown. He's greenish grey white. And
that's like a TV episode, isn't it? They're on a TV crew.
Yeah, is it not? Is it radio? It's either radio or TV. It's something like that.
Those are always really fun episodes.
Yeah, and then he speaks as well. He speaks. The Wax Phantom actually is one that speaks, and you don't necessarily expect him to speak, but he's got he's got the voice you expect him to have.
I'm guessing really deep, kind of moany kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a very moany, deep voice. If I can think of a quote right now, I'll try and say it, but I can't, so I won't. But yeah, the Wax Phantom is. I wanted to bring him up because he looks cool, and I like wax. I like House of Wax. Vincent Price's House of Wax.
Thank God you said Vincent Price's. I thought you meant Paris Hilton's.
No. Not Paris Hilton's. Obviously Vincent Price's House of Wax. Because I just like the idea of horror in wax museums. I think that's very, very interesting. So,
and they do bring that aspect into a later Scooby-Doo film, which I'm sure we're going to get onto much later.
Oh, yes, much later, considering how long are we on now? 50 minutes.
Just covering Where Are You?
Yeah. Do you have anything else from Where Are You? Because I have actually, would you believe it, spoken all about Where Are You that I want to speak about.
Not from Where Are You. I don't have any more ones that stick out particularly. Unless we want to go back to Bedsheets Phantom, then...
I mean, we've talked about Bedsheets Phantom as much as you can talk about Bedsheets Phantom. He is a phantom that wears bedsheets that tells them to get off the island.
Pretty much. That's
what he does.
Castle and the Castle's a fun episode.
Yeah, it's a good episode that suffers from a... It would be an excellent episode if it had a, particularly... If it had the Phantom Shadow in it, which is why the Phantom Shadows episode aside from the fact that it is House on Haunted Hill 2.0,
Oh yeah.
is just a great episode. Anyway, yes, we've mentioned the fact that the chase songs are all awesome and very 60s, and yeah, we've
If you
reached
like the Beatles, you'll like it.
we've reached the year 1970. We're 51 minutes into this, and we've reached the year 1970.
Dude, I could go so much longer talking about this.
I think we're going to. I mean, following on from Scooby Doo, Where Are You? You had something that I don't necessarily want to talk about for a great deal because it's just a bit silly. You had something called the new Scooby Doo movies, which every episode had a celebrity or pop culture guest star.
I think that's because Scooby Doo Where Are You had low ratings at the time, so they thought those guest stars would bring it up.
I mean, it certainly helped Scooby Doo develop into something that is still getting things made. But when you have Scooby Doo meets Batman and Robin, and Scooby Doo meets Josie and the Pussycats, and the Harlem Globetrotters, which is a personal favourite.
I'm surprised they never did Scooby Doo meets the Beatles.
I'm very surprised they probably couldn't get the Beatles.
They were too big by
They
then.
probably couldn't get the Beatles. That's why. Actually, what year was?
It was like early 70s.
Yeah, the new Scooby Doo movies was 1972 to 73. When did the Beatles split?
I don't know. All I remember is that John Lennon died in 1980, so sometime before that.
Yeah, I think.
The ghost of John Lennon. That could have been a great
Oh
episode.
God, that'd have been dark. Put Scrappy Doo in there as well, just because it was that era.
Can we please keep Scrappy Doo away from anything?
Yeah, we're not going to talk. That's the only mention we're going to have of them. We're not going to talk.
The Jar Jar Binks of Scooby Doo.
We're not going to talk about him. Forget we even said that. Scooby Doo also meets the Three Stooges in this series,
God. You think that would work?
it's all very ridiculous. There's no sort of the guest stars are the memorable parts of this. There's nothing else that's particularly memorable about it.
So who would be your ideal guest star for one of those episodes?
God, from that time, from the early 70s, I don't know, Scooby-Doo, Mystery Inc. meets Marvin Gaye. Right after
I knew you were heading there.
Right after coming off of What's Going On, put the no, that wouldn't work at all.
I would love to see Scooby Doo meets David Bowie because he's quite.
God, yeah, that could work. That is one that could actually have worked, I think. They also had Dick Van Dyke guest star on one of these. I think that was the last episode of the new Scooby Doo movies. Of course, after Dick Van Dyke, they went, "Oh, no more of this. Let's cancel it."
Yep, and a few years later, when they did the updated Scooby Doo, they had Panic at the Disco as their guest star.
Oh no!
Which I love that band, but they're not right for Scooby Doo.
That doesn't work at all. Anyway,
should we get on to the Scooby Doo show?
The Scooby Doo show, which, guys, we were not kidding when we said we went long on this episode. That is why it's cut into 2 parts. This will be the end of part 1, but part 2 will be out next Sunday. So keep a lookout for that, definitely. And being that this is the end of this particular episode, you can check me out on Twitter at the Purple Dawn. Check Nolan out at Nolan Dean 27. Follow the podcast itself at HorrorHouse Pod, #HorrorHouse Pod, to talk to us all about Scooby Doo, specifically Scooby Doo Where Are You, which was the vast majority of this episode. But yeah, look back out for next week's episode, Scooby Doo Part 2. Talking the Scooby Doo show and some of the animated movies and a bit of what Scooby Doo's doing these days. So, yeah, keep a lookout for that. As always, thanks for listening, guys, and until next time, goodbye.